You're listening to Storytime on channel15radio.com. Old time radio for a new era. Thank you for joining us. In this series, we feature Terry Morgan reading from her work, The Ambassador, a fun, family-friendly sci-fi martial arts adventure. The Ambassador is an accomplished older woman who leads a tight-knit team to protect the local neighborhood. Together, they must find a way to defeat the invading Olmeri. Previously, we met the ambassador and learned about her dangerous new assignment. In this episode, she meets Captain Alexander Logan. Captain Logan takes command of the Magellan, and the ambassador reveals their mission to her team and the captain. This episode completes the first set of character introductions. It took a little time for me to decide how to introduce them. The dialogue needed to be clear, but how do they speak? Which words would this character use? Which words would that character say? They're all different, and in some ways they're all the same. Those similarities are something that I use. The idea that we're all out here different and the same is one that runs through the stories. Each of the featured characters has a particular background and culture. They each represent particular ideas about groups and cultures in the real world, but not to create stereotypes, to break them. To show that character isn't about stereotypes or what others believe. It's about who we are, who we choose to be, what matters most to each of us, what we value, and what we're willing to do. The ambassador first meets Captain Logan as a trickster. She pretends to be a lost traveler. She wants to find out what Captain Logan will do, and she can't ask him. She uses what I call the ancient arts to look into his heart. This is partly fiction, partly legend, and partly a keen understanding of humans. It's fiction in that we can't actually open some sort of mystical portal into another person's heart to find out who they are. It's legend in that many writers have given us this ability. Compassion and empathy, courage, and a clear understanding are the most common prerequisites. It's real world in that each of us respond to others with different expressions, small movements, and even variations in how fast we blink. If we know what to look for, we can see more about who another person is than they might want us to. Character development is important for the stories. The Masters of the Nine Houses created a training program to reveal character and to shape the trainees into honorable, caring, and capable graduates. That is precisely the same as what traditional Chinese martial arts do. They reveal the character of the person. In traditional martial arts training, we start out learning different techniques and methods. We practice, we develop skills. It is through that practice we reveal who we are. Each movement shows many things about a person. Each breath reveals more the quality of movement, the timing, and the intent. The way a movement is done reveals the nature, what a person likes and doesn't like. It also reveals the level of skill that person has with the movements. One of the things I wanted to avoid in the stories was the idea that only one exists. I didn't want any of the characters to be the only one. I wanted them to be exceptional. I wanted it to be possible that there were others who were exceptional too. Each of the characters has an exceptional skill, a distinct perspective, and a way of relating to the others. It's who they are. What they do isn't something that is driven by what happens. Why they do what they do comes from their backgrounds. What they say and do reveals who they are. They live in a world where trust is earned. It doesn't come along because someone asked. Trust comes from a clear understanding of what someone else can do and will do. Someone who says they can do something they clearly cannot do cannot be trusted. Someone who makes few promises and always does what they say they will do can be trusted. Whether or not they have honor is another matter. The characters in the stories aren't perfect, but they are the best of the best. At heart, they are fundamentally good. They don't want to hurt anyone. They understand all too well what duty and honor mean. They know what they can do, what they will do, and what they won't do. They know what it means to sacrifice. They know hard work, courage, and what it takes to win. More than that, they know themselves. Now, Terry Morgan reading from her book, The Ambassador, Departure Day. Hello, Space Station Arrivals Mezzanine. Captain Logan was leaning on the railing above the main floor watching the station arrivals platform. He was tall, well-built, with sandy hair and a square jaw. He looked up with surprise as the ambassador came out of the stairwell. She was wearing common travel clothes, neat but not fancy. She wasn't tall, but she wasn't short either. She had dark blonde hair, braided and draped over one shoulder with a bag on the other. I'm sorry. This area is restricted. Can I help you find your transport? Captain Logan asked as politely as he could. The ambassador smiled. Thank you. Yes, you could help me with that, she said. Captain Logan blinked a couple of times. She reminded him of one of his training instructors at the academy. She had the same clear blue eyes, open and bright as if she were open to letting in the universe, piercing as if she could see straight through him. Perhaps if you tell me where you're going, he asked. Imperceptibly, the ambassador centered her weight and began to slow her breathing. Yes, I could tell you where I'm going, she said. She nodded to him. She focused on radiating calm and trust. Of all the ancient arts, this was one of the most intrusive. She began to open her mind, reaching straight into his heart. She could see what he held dear and who he was. He could not hide. He didn't need to say anything. She simply knew. She was pleased. He had courage. He was quick, and he could be stubborn. Captain Logan shifted back a bit. He looked around, puzzled. He squirmed and tugged at the collar of his shirt to open it. He closed his shoulders a little to the front as if trying to stop a punch to his chest. He began to feel warmer, as if the temperature had just gone up 10 degrees. He felt like every part of him was being examined. Then it was over. He was not quite sure what had just happened. Oddly, he wasn't anxious about it. He had a pervasive sense of peacefulness and tranquility. He took a slow, deep breath and turned his attention back to the woman. So where are you going? Captain Logan asked directly. He was beginning to get frustrated with her. He'd like to meet the ambassador he was supposed to transport and get underway. He was tired of playing guessing games with a lost old lady. The ambassador's smile got bigger. I'm going there to visit the stars, she said. She pointed at the stars through the windows. Yes, of course you are. And how are you going to get there? Captain Logan asked with as much sympathy as he could muster. Her family must be worried about her. How can I get her to tell me something useful, he thought. He was expecting an ambassador. He didn't want to be minding some old woman. I have a ship, a very nice ship, the ambassador replied. Does your ship have a name? Captain Logan asked. The ambassador suppressed a smile. It's hard to keep this going. He's already told me everything I need to know. Maybe I should. Nah, one more, she thought. She frowned. Of course my ship has a name, and a captain too, she said impatiently. Could you tell me what the name of your ship is? Captain Logan asked. Every time he asked her something, she gave a clear answer, but it wasn't the answer he was looking for or expecting. The ambassador glanced down to the departure floor and looked around to distract him. Captain Logan followed her gaze. Maybe there's someone, he thought. While he was looking away, the ambassador reached into her pocket, took out her pin, and put it back on. She turned to face him, her pin now clearly visible on her collar. I could tell you the name of my ship, and so could you, she said with a big smile. She crossed her arms in front of her chest, extended her hands outward with palms up, and brought them down to her sides. I am Ambassador Michael Lawrence. I am pleased to meet you, Captain, she said. Captain Logan smiled. He recognized the greeting and grimaced a little, realizing she just tested him. Good morning, Ambassador. I'm also very pleased to meet you, although I wasn't expecting, he said. He shook his head and smiled. They both laughed. So it seems I passed your test, Captain Logan asked. Yes, Captain, the ambassador replied, smiling. She gestured towards a small conference room. The room was disused but clean. The ambassador took a seat at a small table on one side of the room. Captain Logan closed the door and sat down across from her. The ambassador smiled. It seems congratulations are in order. The Magellan is a fine ship. You have an excellent crew. Commander Brandon is one of the best resource officers in the fleet, she said. Captain Logan nodded. Thank you. Frankly, I wasn't expecting this assignment, but I have to say I couldn't be happier. Indeed, the Magellan is an excellent ship with a fine crew. I've been handling transport and security for several of the Alliance trade representatives in the Altair and Vega sectors. Their work was mostly focused on maintaining existing relationships. But there were a few times when we unfortunately had to leave on less than friendly terms. I understand you have a first contact charter, he said. Yes, I do, the ambassador said. She frowned. What have you been told? She asked. Only that I'm supposed to be here, meet you, take you and your delegation somewhere, and bring you home, Captain Logan replied. Excellent, the ambassador said. She smiled like a big Cheshire cat. But you don't seem too happy, she said. Captain Logan frowned a little and nodded. Frankly, I'm not particularly happy about not knowing where we are going or what we are going to do. But I'm going to do whatever you need me to do, and I'm going to make sure we all come home, he said. The ambassador smiled. That he was ready to go and didn't know where he was going or exactly what he was going to be doing reflected well on his character. I hope we don't need the options for leaving on less than friendly terms this time, she said. She turned her head sideways, frowning and nodding with the implication that they could be needed. We're going to the Hyades cluster to meet with the High Council of Kalen to establish a regular relationship, communications, trade, all that. If I'm successful with the first meetings, we will return in a few months to set up the future framework. The Kalen Council has been mostly receptive to our overtures, but we don't have anything formal yet, she said. Okay, so your first contact charter really does mean first contact, doesn't it? The Hyades cluster is almost 60 light years on the other side of Aldebaran. We don't have many partners in that sector, Captain Logan said. He sat back grinning with excitement and just a bit of apprehension. Indeed, Captain, the ambassador said. It was going to take time for him to understand. It wasn't a 10-minute explanation. We should have a full briefing once we are underway, she said. Captain Logan nodded. His personal comlink chimed. Captain Logan, Commander Brandon said. Her voice came through the comlink. Yes, Commander, Captain Logan said. We have all the ambassador's supplies loaded. Her detail is waiting at the departure gate. We are ready to depart as soon as you come on board, Commander Brandon said. Thank you, Commander. We are on our way, Captain Logan said. He stood up. Yes, sir, Commander Brandon replied. Shall we go, Ambassador? Captain Logan said. He gestured toward the door. Are the other members of your detail as interesting as you are? He asked. I'd say more so, Captain, the ambassador replied with a wry grin and a twinkle in her eyes. Shall we go meet them? She asked. I'll be right back. Captain Logan stepped back to let her go out first. He was even more curious now. It wasn't often that the emissaries he transported had a full delegation. This was the first ambassador he'd transported, and she was turning out to be quite a character. Ready. Space station departures. Captain Logan and the ambassador walked along the mezzanine toward the departure area at the end of the promenade. Travelers, some in various uniforms, were going in and out of the shops below. The central part of the inside wall was designed to replicate terraces on a mountainside, with stairs and small alcoves with benches for sitting. Vines trailed along rock walls. Trees of various sizes mimicked a small forest. Intricate lighting created the feeling of a cool morning. The sprinklers sprayed a fine mist over rows of spring flowers. The ambassador turned her head up slightly and smiled. It smells nice in here, almost like my garden. And the spring flowers, peonies and crocus, daffodils and daylilies, and so many different colored tulips. It's almost planetary, she said. It's some of the best eco-replication I've seen. It looks natural, like the plants just happen to be growing there, Captain Logan said. The ambassador looked up at the Magellan through the high windows as they walked into the departure hall. The lights of the station reflected along her sides against the black of space. The Magellan is a fine ship, Captain. A fine ship, she said quietly. Captain Logan followed her gaze and smiled. Yes, the Magellan is a very fine ship, he said. He took a deep breath and squared his shoulders. He looked at the gate and scanned the departure hall for a group that might be her delegation. He spotted a group of 4 scruffy people standing below the main window. They looked more like not-so-well-to-do tourists with old beat-up luggage. What are they doing here? That can't be, he thought. The ambassador had spotted them and was halfway across the floor. Captain Logan hurried to catch up with her. Namani was standing with his back to the windows facing into the departure hall. He saw her coming, lowered his chin slightly to acknowledge he saw her, and straightened a little. The others turned around. Good morning. I'm very happy to see you all here with your luggage, the ambassador said, grinning. They all grimaced a little and then smiled as if she'd just given them a cookie. She had standing instructions to either put things in cargo or pack the shuttle, but not to bring more than 2 personal bags. Besides being easier to manage, it helped keep them agile. They weren't bringing anything they didn't need. Yes, indeed, we're ready to go. Where are we going again? The doctor asked. The ambassador smiled and pointed at the ship. We're going for a ride on the Magellan, Doctor, she said impatiently. She wagged her finger at him. You know better. However, I do have something we should talk about. Please allow me to introduce Captain Alexander Logan. He's the new commander of the Magellan. Captain Sorensen was promoted and has been reassigned, she said, smiling. Everyone got a little stiff, trying to hide their surprise. Thank you, Ambassador, Captain Logan said. He stepped up next to her. I'm pleased to meet all of you. I look forward to having you on board, he said. He was already a bit in awe of her, a bit nervous about his new command, and not at all sure what he should say. The ambassador tried not to laugh. Captain, may I present my delegation? Namani is my chief of staff, personal bodyguard, and general right hand. He's quite good with planning, organizing, and preparations of all sorts, she said. She extended her hand toward Namani. Namani stepped forward and nodded. He was squarely built and just a little taller than Captain Logan. He was wearing a comfortable dark red shirt and black pants. Pleased to meet you, Captain Logan, he said. He took a step back. Captain Logan nodded to him. He wasn't really surprised that she had an Elrenim administrator in her delegation. He'd met the Elrenim several times. They were exceptional administrators and could be formidable fighters. The ambassador gestured to the doctor to step forward. Dr. Marcus Gray. Mark is our team doctor, chef, and all-around good-humor guy. He keeps us happy and well-fed, she said. I'm quite good with medical things, too, the doctor said. He grinned playfully and waved. He was slender with a boyish face and a curious sense of enjoyment. Captain Logan couldn't help but laugh. The only way to describe the doctor was that he was simply happy. The ambassador waved to Beth. Elizabeth Michaels is our archivist, historian, and cultures expert. Beth is extremely good with all our recording systems, she said. Beth was standing just behind Imani. She was the youngest of the group. Her fiery red curls and pixie face made her look even younger. She stepped to one side, nodded to Captain Logan, and quickly stepped back behind Imani. She was quite shy unless she was behind a camera. Captain Logan smiled and nodded to her. Kel is my pilot, the ambassador said, a note of pride audible in her voice. Kel stepped forward and nodded to Captain Logan. He was wearing a dark gray traveler's shirt, tunic, and pants similar to what the others were wearing. He was a little taller than the ambassador, slender with dark hair. Captain Logan nodded to him politely, as he would to any other pilot, and then he started sizing him up. He seems a little young to be her pilot, he thought. His eyes stopped at Kel's hands. Kel had quite open hands with rather long fingers. He looked up at Kel and over to the ambassador and back at Kel, curious, puzzled, and in awe all at once. Kel smiled an impish grin and nodded to Captain Logan. She's done it again. I do so like these kinds of introductions, he thought. He winked at the ambassador. Captain Logan turned to the ambassador and tried really hard not to trip over his words. You have an Aldaran pilot, he asked. His jaw was not quite able to close. First of all, the Aldarans hardly ever, really never would pilot for anyone. They didn't want to be bothered with mundane flights, and they didn't at all like being told what to do. They were good pilots, really, really good, and rightfully proud of their skills. They mostly weren't braggarts, but they knew they were exceptional. It was just a fact. Nobody but nobody in the known universe could match the Aldarans for their navigation and piloting skills. Yes, Kel has been kind enough to ferry me around to a few worlds, the ambassador replied. He's got quite a perspective on this part of the galaxy. He's very good at finding the best places for yang rotang, she said. Yang rotang was a meat soup she'd learned to like on Roz, too. It wasn't really a choice back then. She could eat it or have nothing. She learned to like it. Kel smiled a bit sheepishly. He liked yang rotang. On more than one occasion, he'd managed to adjust their course so they passed near a planet or a station he knew where they could get it. Even Imani had acquired a taste for it. We have much to discuss, Captain. Much to discuss. Shall we go? The ambassador asked. Captain Logan nodded. Access granted. Space station, the Magellan Gateway. Captain Logan walked over to a large open doorway. It had thick metal doors set into the walls. A palm scanner was set into a metal side panel. Just beyond, a transport platform was visible at the end of a short passageway. Captain Logan stepped up to the door and put his hand on the palm scanner. Prepare command transfer. Mark time. Logan. Alexander. Theta 12, 18, Gamma 3, Alpha Moon 79, he said. A purple light came on and began passing over his body. Maya, the Magellan's AI, appeared in the center of the entryway. She could block or grant access to the ship. She wore a ship's uniform. She looked like a human female in her early 30s with upswept brown hair, light brown skin, clear brown eyes, and perfectly crafted bright gold earrings. She was not an ordinary AI. She was designed to serve the ship. Every choice she made, every decision to act or not act, was based on the good of the ship, its crew, and anyone or anything else on board. She could not disobey a direct order from the ship's captain. Maya looked squarely at Captain Logan. Voice, palm, DNA, medical records, access code, match confirmed. Transferring all systems to your authorization, Captain Logan. Welcome aboard, Captain. You have command. Route access granted, she said. She stepped to one side. It wasn't just a formality for her to say this. She was actually giving him full control of the ship, its systems, and all her programs. Captain Logan took a breath. I have command, he said. His voice seemed to get a little deeper with the responsibility he just assumed. The ambassador turned her head slightly to one side, listening. She heard the change in his voice. She smiled. Oh, I like him. I like him, she thought. I'm sure I have much to learn about the Magellan, Captain Logan said. He looked at Maya. Indeed, Captain, Maya replied. She smiled. She had been programmed with several types of humor, irony among them. She turned to the ambassador. Welcome back, Ambassador, she said. Thank you, Maya. I'm happy to be back. It's good to see you again, too, the ambassador said. Developing a bond with an AI had not been easy. Gradually, as she worked at it, the ambassador began to understand the practical implications of Maya's core programming. Then she asked to have Maya modified with new branches for diplomacy. These included assessing patterns of behavior, physical responses, engagement, and cultivating confidence and trust. In addition, subroutines for ethics, rewards, and all sorts of things that supported the ambassador's missions were added. It took a little training. Maya adapted quickly, and progress was rapid. The High Council had been very happy with the modifications. They had added the new branches to the AIs on a few select ships with great success, and they gave the ambassador another medal for her initiative. Maya moved a little closer to the ambassador. Does he know? She whispered. No, he will want to see the ship's logs, the ambassador replied. Maya shook her head. It may be difficult for him to understand. He has just come aboard, she said. I agree. Not all at once. Give him a day or two to adjust. Maybe you could be just a little slow at finding things. Offer him something similar while you are looking for what he wanted, the ambassador asked. To distract him. I understand, Maya said. For now. Only for now. Once we are underway, I will tell him. He must know everything, the ambassador said. Yes, Ambassador, Maya said. She recognized the command to her core programming. The others had walked past them to the transport platform. The doctor waved to them. Are you coming with? He asked. Of course, Doctor, the ambassador said, smiling at him. Thank you, Maya, she whispered. She took Maya's arm. They walked to the platform together. Captain Logan stood up straight. Guest quarters, section 3, deck 8, please, Maya, he said. Maya smiled. Does he really think I don't know where the guest quarters are? She whispered to the ambassador. Humor him, the ambassador said. She giggled. Yes, Captain, Maya said. She activated the transport. New settings. The ambassador's quarters on the Magellan. The guest section was designed for those times when dignitaries or special guests from a planet might be invited on board. It was secured with restricted access and isolated from the rest of the ship by a system of locks. A network of hallways connected the guest living quarters areas from several meetings. Each meeting room offered a different perspective on the stars or planets outside. The ambassador and her delegation had quarters in this section of the ship. It was convenient for her to be near any guests. It was also less of a distraction for the crew. The ambassador, Namani, Kel, Beth, and the doctor stepped off the transport platform into an open foyer with tall windows along both sides of a broad hallway. Captain Logan remained on the platform. Ambassador, I'll take my leave for now. There are still a few things I need to do to get us underway, he said. Thank you, Captain. When you can, I'd like to have that briefing to go over the details of our mission, the ambassador said. I'll be right back. I will let you know, Ambassador, Captain Logan said. He nodded. Bridge, please, Maya, he said. Maya activated the transport platform. The doctor, Beth, Kel, and Namani started towards their rooms. Namani, may I have a minute? The ambassador asked. She motioned to him. She opened the door to her quarters. Her room was standard, a large open living space with a built-in seat along the outer wall, a panel separating the sleeping area from the main room, and an open doorway leading to a sink, shower, and toilet. Would you sweep the room, please? She asked. Namani took a small cube out of his pocket. He put it in the center of his palm and walked around the room. The cube glowed green. All clear, Ambassador, he said. Thank you, Namani, the ambassador said. She shook her head. All this secrecy, even here, it makes no sense, she said. What makes no sense? Namani asked. All the extra precautions we are taking, the ambassador said. Well, so far, I haven't found any false walls. I will continue looking, of course, Namani replied. He was referring to their first mission together. They both laughed. Namani held out his palm with the cube on it and did several spins before deftly sliding the cube back into his pocket. Seriously, though, you know you have friends on the council. You know you have enemies, too. There are those on the council who would like to see you fail. They may appear to support you, and they will rally around you if you succeed. But if you fail, they will be happy to make you a scapegoat, he said. I know. I suspect that's part of why Sorensen was promoted. Not that she didn't deserve it, she did. She's one of the best captains I've ever worked with. She has great instincts and an impeccable sense of timing, the ambassador said. Being careful isn't a bad thing, Ambassador. I have no wish to be pulling you out of any more piles of rubble. That last attempt on your life was much too close, Namani said. The ambassador smiled. You made the headlines. Unknown hero saved survivors. Nice image of you bringing that old man out on your back. It really was impressive. Namani, I'm very glad you didn't stop to talk with their press. It could have been a problem, she said. Namani smiled. Their press were happy to talk to the old man's family. He was apparently one of the local favorites, always a kind word for everyone. There's more to it, Ambassador, Namani said. More than you being a hero, the ambassador asked, a mix of pride and kindness in her voice. Yes, Namani said quietly. The ambassador turned her head to one side and raised her eyebrows. Namani knew what he could do, and he wasn't afraid of it. He embraced it. She liked that part. She liked his modesty even better. He didn't try to make anything about him. It was always about the other person, the one he was doing something for. What happened? She asked. Namani took a breath. That old man was really in bad shape when I got to him. I was with the search teams in the second building when I thought I heard something. I followed the sound. I was clearing the debris to make a way through. When I saw the old man huddled in a doorway, the walls collapsed all around him. He was half buried under the rubble, shaking, afraid. Nothing I said reached him. I kept asking him to come with me. I told him I wanted to help him, but he was too scared. He couldn't hear me. Finally, I told him I was his transport. I was there to take him to see his children, and he had to get on board right now. When I knelt down to help him get up, he grabbed my shoulders, climbed on my back, and put his arms around my neck like a small child hugging his father. He started shaking and sobbing. He kept hugging me and wouldn't let go. He couldn't talk. Even after I brought him out to his family, he didn't want to let go of me. He finally took hold of his oldest grandson and let me go, Namani said. I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me? The ambassador asked. You were being treated for your own injuries, Namani replied with a shrug. It didn't seem important, he said. Sometimes the smallest actions can make the biggest difference. That old man is never going to forget you. I'm more than pleased you found him, the ambassador said. Namani nodded and smiled. I'm glad I was there to do it, he said. The ambassador smiled at him. She began pacing the floor. What do you know about Logan? She asked. He's seen as a rising star in the alliance. He was given the Star Cross last year for extracting a trade negotiator from a difficult situation near Epsilon Indi. The team had been told there was an agrarian planet that was interested in trade. What they weren't told was that there were two governments vying for control of the food supply. When the trade negotiator arrived, he and his delegation were taken hostage. One side wanted to force the other side to give them a high-producing hybrid grain they had developed. Captain Logan created a diversion by tricking their weather systems into registering an unusually cold air mass that would freeze their unharvested crops. Then he offered to send equipment and a team to complete the harvest before the cold arrived. Once the harvesting team arrived, they insisted the trade negotiator and his team were the foremost experts and needed to handle the harvester controls. Once they were all on the shuttle, the cold air mass disappeared, and so did the shuttle, Namani said. The ambassador stopped pacing and turned to face Namani. I heard about the rescue, but not how he did it. Clever. Can we count on Logan, she asked. Ambassador, that's not a question you usually ask, Namani said. I need your candid assessment, the ambassador said. Namani frowned at her tone. I think he will do whatever he believes is the right thing to do. He will protect the ship, the crew, and you, Ambassador, he said. Thank you, the ambassador said quietly. She turned away to look out the window. We're going to find out what that means, aren't we, Namani asked. Yes, we are, the ambassador replied. Comlink next to the door chimed and lit up. Ambassador, we have left the station. Captain Logan asks if you would join him with your team in the diplomatic briefing room in 30 minutes, Maya said. Thank you, Maya. We'll be right there, the ambassador replied. Namani started toward the door. I'll go get the others, he said. Namani, the ambassador asked. Namani turned back. Yes, ambassador, he asked. The ambassador shook her head. Never mind. I'll see you in the briefing room. Thank you, she said. You're welcome. I'll see you shortly, Namani said. He walked out. The ambassador sat down near the windows. She looked back as the ship moved away from the station. In just a few seconds, she couldn't see the station anymore. She turned and looked forward. The Hyades cluster was just barely visible in the distance. It would take them just over 2 weeks to get there. They could go faster, but there were preparations to be made along the way. It should be enough. It has to be, she thought. Start. The diplomatic briefing room on the Magellan. The ambassador was the first to arrive for the briefing. The lights in the diplomatic briefing room came on automatically when she entered. It was the largest of the briefing rooms in the guest section. It had comfy chairs and large windows to watch the stars, plus security to protect whatever was said. Where should I sit today? The ambassador asked aloud. She liked being the first one in the room when she had to give a presentation. It gave her a chance to see the room before anything started. It wasn't as trivial as it might seem. Her position in the room gave her an advantage. It was like that with negotiations, too. The doctor came up behind her. Wherever you like. Daydreaming or planning, he asked. The ambassador turned around. Both. It's good to see you, Mark. How was your vacation, she asked. It was great. I spent most of the time floating in the tree gardens on Chile 7 in the Altair system. Have you been there? They have the most amazing fruit. They call it pora. It's like a sweet cucumber with a hint of apple. It's wonderful. Here's some for you, the doctor said. He handed her a small basket. Why, thank you, the ambassador said. She brought the basket up to her nose. This smells nice. So sweet. Sounds like you found a place to go back to, she said. Absolutely. They have several things I didn't get to try, the doctor said. He pouted and smiled at the same time. I'm sure you made an effort, the ambassador replied. Yes, I did. I made a double effort. I went to the buffet every day, just like clockwork, the doctor said. How many plates? The ambassador asked. Just 3, the doctor replied. He held up his fist with the little finger up to show the number 6. The ambassador chuckled. They both like to eat. The idea of going somewhere and not making a serious effort to try the local foods would never occur to either of them. The ambassador moved to the head of the table and put the basket down. Then she went to look out the windows. The doctor walked over to stand beside her. Just then, Beth and Amani came in, followed by Captain Logan, Commander Brandon, and a pleasant-looking, medium-built young woman with wavy, shoulder-length blonde hair and bright blue eyes. Captain Logan walked to the head of the table. He saw the fruit basket in front of what would normally be his chair. He shook his head. "That is not there for me," he thought. He moved to the first side chair. "Ambassador, I'm sure we're all eager to hear about our mission. I understand you know Commander Brandon," he said. He nodded to Commander Brandon. "Yes, Captain. The commander and I have had the pleasure of working together several times," the ambassador replied. She smiled and nodded. Captain Logan gestured to the young woman. "Lieutenant Meredith Cady is our new flight officer. She just completed her training with expert qualifications on 3 of our fighters. This is her first assignment on a starship," he said. "Welcome, Lieutenant Cady. Pleased to meet you," the ambassador said. "Thank you, Ambassador. It's my honor to meet you," Lieutenant Cady replied. "Shall we get started, Captain?" the ambassador asked. "The floor is yours, Ambassador," Captain Logan said. He took a seat and motioned for the others to sit. "Thank you, Captain," the ambassador said. She looked around the room. "I appreciate that you have not been briefed until now. I had instructions to keep this quiet. We're going to the Hyades cluster to meet with the High Council of Kalen. The Central Alliance wants to establish a treaty." She activated a screen. It showed a star chart of their route to the Hyades cluster. Then she activated a 3D model. It showed a system with 4 planets, 2 suns, and a heavy asteroid belt just at the edge of the system. "But why are we going?" the doctor asked. "We'd like a treaty, Doctor. 2 of the planets in this entire nearby asteroid belt are rich in magnesium and other rare earth minerals," the ambassador said. She added an overlay to the display that showed what they projected those deposits to be. "Jackpot," Captain Logan said. "Rich seems to be not quite the right word," Commander Brandon said. She smiled. The ambassador nodded. "Indeed, the people of Kalen, the Cora, have been mostly receptive to our overtures. So far, we've only contacted them through remote traders. This is a first contact mission," she said. Captain Logan sat up a little straighter. The ambassador pointed to the 3D model. "We know these 4 planets formed a federation about 300 of our years ago. It appears they have developed slowly. Our traders have talked with the leaders on these 2 planets. We believe all 4 planets are receptive to joining the alliance. They have also told us quietly that the Kalen Council could be supportive of our plans," she said. "Our plans?" the doctor asked. "I'm getting there," the ambassador replied. "This asteroid belt," she continued. The doctor wasn't having it. "But why are we going? It's a long way to go for a mining agreement. Even if we are a first contact team, why do we have to go all the way out there? Can't somebody else go have a look-see? Why are we getting stuck with it?" he asked. The ambassador looked at him and then around the room. She took a breath. She pointed to an area just beyond the asteroid belt. "Alliance merchant ships passing through the sector have reported seeing Olmeri scout ships here. They are still far enough away to not be an immediate threat to Kalen, but they are headed toward the system." The doctor frowned and shook his head. "This is not good. Once the Olmeri arrive, they begin taking over any habitable planets. They drain the planet's resources to build their megacities and power their ships. They don't leave anything for the original inhabitants," he said. "This is really not good." I'll be right back. This is really not good. Our early reports are that the Cora are mostly agrarian. They don't seem to have much industry. They seem to have very limited construction abilities. Their planets are heavily forested. They don't have any large cities, Beth said. Captain Logan looked down and shook his head. They can't defend themselves, he said. The ambassador sighed. It gets worse. We've just gotten new reports that show the Olmeri are accelerating their timetables. We used to see a few years between the time we got reports of their scout ships showing up somewhere and when that sector would begin withdrawing from trade treaties. Now, it's less than a year, she said. Less than a year? Lieutenant Cady asked. Commander Brandon looked at Lieutenant Cady sharply and frowned. Be quiet before I come over there, she thought. The ambassador continued. From what we know, it appears the Olmeri are assaying the asteroid belt. We think they want what we want, the minerals, but they don't know what's there, and we want to keep it that way. So, to your question, Doctor, why are we going? If the Olmeri keep traveling along the belt, it will bring them directly into the Kalan system, she said. Captain Logan frowned. If the Olmeri are able to establish themselves in the Hyades cluster, they will become an even bigger problem for the Central Alliance, he said. The ambassador nodded. They're already a problem for the Cora, the doctor said. Exactly, Doctor. So we're going to do two things. First, we want a treaty that will allow us to set up a monitoring station near Kalan to give us an early warning about any Olmeri incursions, the ambassador said. Just land and ask him to sign, Lieutenant Cady blurted out. She was an exceptional pilot and very good with flight operations. She wasn't deliberately trying to be disrespectful. She was used to saying what she thought during flight briefings. Namani frowned and lowered his chin. Not quite, Lieutenant. This is not a flight briefing, he said. Lieutenant Cady bit her lip and looked down. The ambassador looked at Namani and nodded. She went on. Second, we want the Olmeri to believe that the asteroid belt is not worth their time. That even if they find a few minerals, there's not enough of anything useful to bother about. We want them to go away thinking that whatever they have found isn't worth the trouble, she said. How can you get them to do that? Lieutenant Cady asked with more than a little disbelief. The ambassador frowned at the interruption. Lieutenant Cady, she said. She looked around the room. It was clear that question was on everyone's mind. She smiled. That's a good question. We're going to seed the belt with other minerals to confuse their sensors, she said. You want to win without fighting, as the old Earth philosopher Sunza would say, Kel asked. The ambassador looked at Kel and nodded. If we can do it, it's going to take quite a bit of preparation and a barrel full of luck, she said. Everyone looked around the table and nodded. Being able to do either one of these things seems like a pretty big challenge, Ambassador. What are we actually going to do? Captain Logan asked. If you're asking for an operational plan, I don't have one yet, Captain, the ambassador replied. She smiled, raised both hands, shrugged, and shook her head. Captain Logan frowned. He looked down and shook his head. The ambassador looked around the room. We have 2 weeks. I know it's not much, and it's never enough, but it's what we have. If we don't go now, the Olmeri will have enough time to finish their scans. We need them to believe they found nothing and go away. And we need to do whatever we can to stop them from taking over the Kalan system, she said. Captain Logan looked up and shook his head. You look concerned, Captain, the ambassador said. Captain Logan looked straight at her and then around the room. I am concerned. We are going to a remote area where we have few allies. The Olmeri have been spotted nearby. We have 2 weeks to prepare. You have some goals, but you don't have a plan. So yes, you could say I am a little concerned, he said. Namani turned to him and smiled. Captain, you've not been on a mission with us before. 2 weeks is something of a luxury, he said. The ambassador's team and Commander Brandon all nodded. It was true. Captain Logan leaned forward. Okay, so I'm the new guy. I'm still concerned. I was expecting a briefing to cover transport times, official dinners, and how you wanted me to manage any meetings on the Magellan. That's mostly what I had been doing. I'm actually happy about going to the Hyades cluster. I've not been there. Going somewhere where we are likely to meet the Olmeri is, well, different, he said. The ambassador and her team all laughed out loud. Yes, I'm sure this is very different, the ambassador said. Her tone was more stern and unforgiving than she wanted. She softened it and went on. Captain Logan, I'm sorry that you have been thrown into this. I'm also a bit unsettled having a new captain to work with. We are going to have lots of opportunities to get to know each other really, really well over the next 2 weeks. You will come to understand what my team and I do. But I have to tell you honestly, for this mission, we can't succeed without you, your crew, and the Magellan, she said. Captain Logan looked at her, questioning her without saying anything. Then he sat up a little straighter, raised his shoulders, lowered his chin, and smiled. The Magellan was his ship now. The ambassador, I didn't take this commission. Ambassador, I didn't take this commission without understanding what it meant. We will do whatever it takes to help you succeed. But I have to be honest, the High Council didn't tell me any of this. Not even a hint, he said. He shook his head. They couldn't tell you, Captain. I told you where we were going because I decided you needed to know at least that much. My team did not know where we are going or what we are going to try to do until just now, the ambassador said. Beth and Kel looked at each other, nodded and shrugged. The doctor grinned and nodded. We've been on several very quiet missions like this, Namani said. The ambassador smiled. My entire plan depends on making the Olmeri believe what we want them to believe. We cannot give them any opportunity to find out otherwise. They may come back and try again. That's also why we want a treaty with the Cora. We don't want to walk in the door sounding the alarm bells, but we have to do something. What that something is remains a question. She looked around the room slowly. She knew this mission was going to be a challenge. She needed to get them ready. Sugarcoating it wouldn't help. Do we know what the Cora want? What do we know about their civilization and history, Beth? She asked. Part of Beth's job was to make herself an expert, to learn everything she could about the civilization they were going to visit. She also needed to be able to offer advice and put things in context. That meant reading lots of reports and reviewing any language banks that might be similar to what they could expect. Beth looked up. All the reports I've seen are that the Cora don't have much industry. They seem to have very limited construction abilities. Their planets are heavily forested. They don't have any large cities. They have a fusion process quite similar to ours that they use for most of their energy needs. Their ships aren't fast enough to go much beyond their local system. Their culture is focused on providing for their people. Our best guess is that the planets have more than enough magnesium and rare minerals. They don't need them, don't want them, and can't eat them, so whatever's in the asteroid belt isn't something they think of as desirable, she said. Everyone chuckled a little at that last bit. Beth continued. The Cora appear to be interested in seeds and other agricultural help that we might be able to offer. That's been the conversation the traders we have contacted them through have had. The Cora are hesitant to trade, it seems, because they haven't had that much contact with anyone outside their systems. Reports indicated they would be very concerned about any sort of outposts nearby. They would likely be alarmed by the Olmeri, she said. The ambassador nodded to Beth. Thank you, Beth. Very good insights. Do your people know anything about the Cora, Kel? She asked. Kel nodded. My people have met the Cora and have traded with them on occasion. They didn't have much of anything we wanted, and we didn't have anything they wanted, so we've mostly left each other alone. They are generally not aggressive, although we have heard reports of some difficulties on their third planet recently. Some sort of civil unrest, apparently, to try to force a change in their ruling council. I think their council would like to have allies with big guns and long-range weapons, he said. Captain Logan and Commander Brandon chuckled and nodded to each other. Lieutenant Katie smiled. I'm sure they would, Captain Logan said. So, Captain, are you ready to get started with the details? We have a lot of material to cover and quite a few scenarios to review, the ambassador said. She smiled her Cheshire cat grin. I need a little time to digest all this. Could we start first thing in the morning? Captain Logan asked. Namani smiled. Certainly, Captain, the ambassador replied. It's a lot to take in. Namani, would you give us a quick summary? She asked. Namani nodded and stood up. Beth will continue her research of what we know of the Kalan culture and languages. The doctor will be reviewing plants, foods, and medical topics. Kel is going to make some modifications to his cruiser. The ambassador will brief you, Captain, on what she needs. I will be working with Commander Brandon and Lieutenant Katie on possible scenarios. I will also work with Maya to prepare a study plan for you, he said. The ambassador smiled and nodded. Perfect, Namani. Thank you, she said. Captain Logan smiled and nodded. A study plan for me? I need a study plan, he asked. Yes, Captain. Time is short, Namani replied. Captain Logan frowned and tried not to look puzzled. Okay, sure. Thank you, he said, smiling. Doctor, are you cooking for us today, or do we have to forage on our own? The ambassador asked. I was hoping you'd ask, the doctor replied. He grinned. May we avail ourselves of the Magellan's gardens and stores, Captain? He asked. Certainly. Commander Brandon, would you help the doctor get whatever he needs? Captain Logan asked. Commander Brandon nodded. Lieutenant Katie, come with us, she said firmly. She started toward the door. Lieutenant Katie followed. You are welcome to join us, Captain. It should only take me about an hour to prepare something, the doctor said. Thank you. I'm going to pass this time. It seems I'm going to have some studying to do, Captain Logan replied. Okay, more for me, the doctor said. He took Beth's arm and they walked out the door. Ambassador, I will take my leave for now, Captain Logan said. The ambassador smiled. Try to get some rest. It really is a lot to take in, she said. Captain Logan nodded. Thank you. See you in the morning, he said. He walked out of the room. The ambassador turned to Namani and Kel. Now then, let's take a closer look at where we're going, she said. She touched a control panel that opened a much more detailed 3D map of the Kalan system. They sat down and began studying the map. Over the next 2 weeks, they studied maps, looked at the history of the Kalan system, practiced hand-to-hand combat drills, and ran scenarios. Preparation she hoped wouldn't be necessary. That's all for tonight. Join us next time when the doctor discovers a way to win the trust of their soon-to-be new friends on Kalan and discovers Beth has a secret even she doesn't know. You've been listening to The Ambassador on Storytime, channel15radio.com. Old-time radio for a new era. Thank you. Good night.